The Steelers suffer an embarrassing 30-7 loss in Week 1 of the 2023 NFL season at home to the San Francisco 49ers in what was an awful start to this campaign for Mike Tomlin, Matt Canada, and quarterback Kenny Pickett. We'll be getting into all of the stats and my reaction to today's game. But first, let's take a look at the stats. 30-7 at home, man. What a joke. You got Kenny Pickett, 31 of 46, 232 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, and it should have probably been 3. All right, Fred Warner dropped an interception in this one. Pickett was not making good decisions. The accuracy was all off, but we'll talk about him later on in today's show. Najee Harris had 31 yards on 6 carries. Didn't have a whole lot of time to run the football in this game. The Niners got out to an early lead. And then Allen Robinson looked pretty decent today. 5 catches, 64 yards. George Pickens had a couple nice catches. Calvin Austin III came in with some nice stuff. But my first takeaway from today's game was that the injuries killed the Steelers today and probably moving forward. You take a look at the list of injuries today. Diontae Johnson. By the way, all these guys, they're contributors. Diontae Johnson with a hamstring, likely a torn hamstring here. We'll get more updates on him as the week goes on. He was out of the game today. Had a really nice play, too, on the play that he got injured, which really sucks. Cam Heyward left the game early on with a groin injury. He left the game, did not return. He was in street clothes. Then you got DeMarvin Leal, who had an elbow injury. He left as well. And then Pat Freiermuth with a chest injury. He battled through it, so I think he'll be okay. But, definitely a tough slate of injuries to start the 2023 campaign for the Pittsburgh Steelers. My second takeaway was that Kenny Pickett was awful in this one. I don't care how you feel about Kenny Pickett. I've been saying for months that I'm a believer in Kenny Pickett. I was excited to see his progress into year 2 of his NFL career. But there's no excuse for his performance today, man. Should have been 3 interceptions, made multiple bad throws, like wide misses. Like, we're not talking, it's like slightly behind the receiver and the receiver dropped it. Like, it was a wide miss, no chance of catching it. I think when I go through the film here, it might be double-digit throws, close to that anyway, where it's really important throws, and Kenny Pickett, wide miss. That's something you cannot have as an NFL quarterback. You need to be accurate, especially if you don't have a rocket arm, and Kenny Pickett doesn't have a rocket arm. It's just one game, but this first game here against a legit defense was definitely a rough one. Hopefully he can bounce back against the Cleveland Browns next week. Now, do me a favor in the comments section right now. Grade Kenny Pickett's game versus the San Francisco 49ers in Week 1. Give me an A, a B, a C, a D, or an F. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. Take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. My third takeaway, Pat Pete, where were you, man? Talked a big game during the week. Said you're going to get an interception. Said that the 49ers had tells in their offense. Well, guess what, man? Kyle Shanahan straight up schooled you this week. Plain and simply, Pat Pete gave up multiple touchdowns in this game. He slipped on the first one, and then the other one was actually well defended. Brandon Ayuk made a nice play. But, man, Patrick Peterson did not look like a number 1 NFL cornerback, plain simply. And, bring this guy in free agency to replace Cam Sutton as that number 1 guy. He didn't look the part today. I'm sorry, that's just the straight-up truth. I'm a believer in Pat Pete. I hope that he can bounce back in the weeks to come. But today, he definitely didn't live up to his promise, and I'm hoping for better things to come in the Steelers secondary. Now, let's hear it down there in the comments section. What is your one-word reaction to the Pittsburgh Steelers loss versus the San Francisco 49ers? I can't imagine it's anything too good, but get down there in the comments section and let me know your one-word reaction. Before we get into the rest of my takeaways, let's have a word from our sponsor at Game Time. And Game Time is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater in your area. I love using Game Time for last-minute ticket opportunities. I love going to MLB baseball games and NBA basketball games during their regular seasons. And sometimes I'm just at work and I'm like, you know what? I want to go to a game tonight. I don't use any other ticketing app other than Game Time because they have the lowest price guarantee. They have flash deals right before game time, and they've got some great features, including a 360-degree view of the seat before you see it. So if you click into the ticket, you rotate your phone, and it'll show you the exact view of your ticket so you know what to expect when you get to the stadium. It's the fastest growing ticketing app in the country for a reason, guys. So get images of your seat before you buy so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive at the stadium. Buy tickets in a matter of seconds, 2 taps, and you're set. Tickets are sent directly to your phone so you never have to dig through your email. Snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code SteelersChat in all caps, one word, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code SteelersChat, all caps, one word, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. My fourth takeaway is that Matt Canada's offense just wasn't good today. Plain and simply. Now, you can blame it on Kenny Pickett, and you can certainly lay a lot of blame at his feet, right? The inaccurate throws, the poor mental processing, the poor decision-making. All that is granted when it comes to Kenny Pickett. But listen, man, you bring Matt Canada back after a lackluster season on offense in 2022, and we were told that this offense is going to look so much different this season. Well, guess what? You scored 7 points today. That's not a whole lot different than what it was last season. It was an absolute embarrassment for the Steelers on offense today, both in the run game and in the passing game. Not good enough whatsoever if you're Matt Canada. And he needs to pick things up right away because his ass is on the hot seat. All right, if he doesn't pick things up by week 6, maybe even week 4 at this point, his butt's going to be out the door, and he might be making a call to Byron Leftwich here to become the new offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think that's probably less likely at this point. I think they'd probably go to like a Mike Sullivan, the current QB coach, over somebody that's out of the building right now. But man, this was not a good day offensively. It needs to get turned around quickly if Matt Canada wants to save his job. Now, join the family today. We're going to be covering all of the different stuff that comes out of this game. We're going to be covering Steelers injury updates heading into week 2. We're going to be doing Kenny Pickett film analysis. We're going to be maybe even doing Diontae Johnson replacements depending on how bad his hamstring injury is. We're going to have a bunch of great content here on the channel for free here on YouTube this week. So make sure you click that subscribe button for elite Steelers week 2 content. And then my final takeaway, let's end on a positive note here. TJ Watt is still incredible, man. 3 sacks today, 2 forced fumbles. I mean, he was great against the run. TJ Watt showed today why I picked him to be my defensive player of the year this year. And then another great bit of Steelers news here. TJ Watt is now tied with James Harrison for the most sacks in Steelers history with 80.5. He goes into next week's game versus the Cleveland Browns on Monday Night Football with a chance to break that record. And I really think he's going to, man. 3 sacks today. I think he's going to get at least 1 next week, especially under the bright lights of primetime football. Now, let me know what you guys think about TJ Watt right now. If you want to show him some love right now down there in the comments section, spam his number 90 down there in the comments section. He was definitely the best player on the Steelers roster today, so show him some love by getting your 90 down there in the comments section. Now, some final thoughts before I say goodbye for the day. Just an awful game for the Pittsburgh Steelers. 30-7, an absolute embarrassment. I mean, you're at home. You know, you come into the season thinking that this team, with Kenny Pickett in his second year, going to take a second-year leap. He's got George Pickens. He's got all the weapons. He's going to have a good defense. You know, you expect this to at least be a competitive football game. Not even necessarily to win it, right? This is a good team in the 49ers. But to lose 30-7, okay, the 49ers will beat the Arizona Cardinals 30-7 this year. All right, and you're doing this at home. This is an embarrassing loss. And listen, the Steelers had a couple of these losses last year, all right, against the Eagles, against the Bills, games where you just absolutely get crushed, and it seems like everything is hopeless at the end of the game. But the thing is, what makes this game different than those games is that TJ Watt was on the field for this one. Right? Those 2 games last year, the Philly game and the Bills game, no TJ Watt. He was injured. So at least you could say, well, we got TJ Watt coming back in a couple of weeks. That's not the case here, right? This is an absolute walloping at home. And listen, I'm just going to chalk it up for now as Mike Tomlin didn't have his guys ready to go, which is completely on the head coach. But we're going to see over the course of this season, is Matt Canada absolutely the worst offensive coordinator in football? We are going to see, is Matt Canada really worthy of being the franchise quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers? Those questions are going to be answered during the course of this season, and probably over the next couple of weeks. I hope this is just a flash in the pan. It's just a really bad game, and we move on next week and get a win versus the Browns and primetime football and get back to 500 and get back on track. But right now, this kind of performance definitely doesn't inspire confidence in me. All right, that's going to be it for today's show, guys. Tough day for Steelers Nation, but we got to bounce back. We got a bunch of great content coming your way throughout this week, so make sure you click that subscribe button for me right now. I will see you guys later, and as always, here we go, Steelers.